freelancing is great. Working a job at some sort of tech company and being able to do what you love on a daily basis is something you enjoy, something you're passionate about. That's all great as well. But to me, in my opinion, the dream is really being able to set up a system where I have passive income where whether I decide to work a particular day or not, I'm still going to have money coming in, which frees me up to be able to do the things that I want to do in my life that may not be entirely dedicated to me having to make money. And so I'm not tied to a job. I'm not sort of chained down to having to work a set number of hours each day. I have financial independence in the sense that it's not necessarily I have a bunch of money that I don't need to worry about it anymore, but I've set up a system where I only need to work a small amount each day and I can generate the kind of income that I want to be able to provide for my family, pay all my bills, all that sort of thing. So to me, that is really the dream of all of this and what I want to talk about in this episode. Hey there, John Morris here, johnmorrisonline.com. Welcome back to another episode of the John Morris Show. So as I mentioned, we're going to be getting into passive income. I'm going to talk about my own experience having really made this transition over the last few years from working primarily as a freelancer, working primarily getting paid by the hour, by the project, into a more passive income type setup and how I've methodically sort of built that. And I'm going to be going through, I have 7 different things that I think you need to do in order to do this or tips for you if this is something that you want to get into. Now, of course, before I do that, I do want to encourage you to head on over to store.johnmorrisonline.com, help support the show. Also get the coding training, the earn a living doing this sort of IT thing, training that you need, Upwork course, my PHP courses, object-oriented programming, all that stuff you can find at store.johnmorrisonline.com. Use the coupon code JMO at checkout for 20% off anything in the store. Also, Udemy links, Skillshare links, all that is over there. Again, that is store.johnmorrisonline.com. All right, so when we talk about passive income, let's first cover what do we mean by that. So a job is not passive income. Freelancing is not passive income. Passive income is income that comes in whether you do any work to actually get it or not that particular day or month or whatever period. My brother likes to call it mailbox money, meaning you just all of a sudden have money show up one day in your mailbox. Now, of course, it doesn't really happen that way anymore. But again, it's income from maybe you have a course on Udemy, or maybe you are selling affiliate products and you have links out there that people can find. And it's not about the amount of hours that you put in that day. It's just income that is coming in whether or not you happen to do any work that day or not. And the reason that this is so valuable, and I think really any coder or developer or freelancer, really anybody, that your long-term goal should be to develop this is, again, because it frees you up to be able to do the things that you really want to do in life and not be tied to a job. So some of the benefits of passive income, it comes in like clockwork, whether I work or not. People can buy my courses at any time of the day. They can buy the affiliate products that I promote any time of the day, any day of the year. I could be asleep. I actually make, I would say, a good chunk of the passive income that I make at night while I'm asleep, because people in other countries are awake at that time and so forth. So it comes in like clockwork. You end up with a lot more free time, and it's system-based and actually more consistent. Now, you can set up a sort of system basis with freelancing and so forth, but with this type of setup, what I'm going to show you here, when you get it down and you get it working, it tends to work for a really long time before you have to really do anything with it. I mean, years at a time. There are things that I did years ago that are still working to this day and still don't see any sign of stopping. So it actually is kind of eerie. I tell people I talk to about this all the time. It's really eerie how consistent it can be. That human behavior is that sort of nailed down. So there's that. It's one of those situations where it's a little more work up front, but once you get it set up, it's a lot less work long term. And probably the biggest thing is there's no limit to your earning potential. With freelancing, with a job, you can only work so many hours in a day. You can only work on so many projects at a time. If you want to expand, you actually have to hire more people and get into all of that. Whereas with this, if you have a course and let's say it takes off on Udemy, you could have 100,000 people buy that course and it's all digital. You don't really have any extra work that you have to do outside of answering questions in your course, but it can go on and on and on. There's really no limit to it. There's no hard limit. So with that said, those are some of the benefits of it. I want to talk about how to do all this. So the actual first piece of advice is the one that you're going to hate the most, but I sort of want to give this to you and give you the veggies up front because it's really, really important to understand this. And this is the number one biggest mistake that I made when I first started out. So when I first started out online, I wasn't starting out as a developer or a coder or anything like that. I started out trying to make passive income right off the start, trying to make courses on all sorts of different topics and so forth. And I made this mistake of not doing the first thing that you need to do, which is to establish credibility. And the only way you can establish true credibility is to go out and earn it. And that is why I eventually did become a coder, and I eventually did do freelancing and did work at a tech company for a number of years, because, and I still do freelancing to this point, but that allowed me to actually put in the work to know what I was talking about, to have some semblance or some idea of what's going on out there, so that when I gave people advice, it actually worked because I've done it myself. And I've been doing this for over 12 years now. So over that time period, I've accumulated a lot of information, learned a lot of lessons, and also established some credibility along the way. It also allowed me to, as you do that, you're going to be able to reach sort of these milestones that you'll be able to use forever. So you guys have heard me talk about some of the projects that I work on. I sort of mention these all the time, but I did projects with a guy named Michael Hyatt, who's really well known online, Inc. Magazine, Lewis Howes, Tim Ferriss, Ray Edwards, etc. Well, those things I did when I was heavy into freelancing. So that was a little while ago. And yet those things I can still mention and talk about to this day to help establish credibility. I mean, those are some things that not a lot of people can say that they have done, or not a lot of people can say that they've worked with those people in some capacity. And so, again, you need to establish that credibility, that baseline of you know what you're talking about, but B, you also have things you can point to as proof that you know what you're talking about. So, I think one of the good examples of this is Gary Vaynerchuk. I know some people love him, some people hate him, but he does have a good point about the fact that when he was doing everything that he does, he didn't say a word about how to run a business, how to do social media, how to do any of that for almost a decade while he ran his dad's liquor store. And instead of talking about it, he just actually put in the work and learned how to do it and proved it to the point that not only could he tell other people that he knew what he was doing, but he had proved it to himself that he knew exactly what he was doing and how to build a business, how to use social media, all of these things, so that when he went out there was no guesswork. And that's a really good example of the type of thing that you need to do. You need to go and earn your credibility. Just trying to go right into being an expert on something without actually having put in the paces, people will figure that out really, really quickly. So that's the first thing. And that's probably the most sort of difficult thing, the thing that people are like, grown at, but it's absolutely 100% true. And my job here is to tell you the truth, not tell you what you want to hear. The second thing then that you need to start doing right away, after while you're establishing credibility, is you need to start building an audience. You need to have people that you get in touch with. Your audience is ultimately the source of your passive income. And that's not a derogatory thing of like you only see them as dollar signs. It's actually very much the opposite, and we'll get into that here in a second. But that is ultimately the people who you are going to serve. And so you need to start building that group of people and expanding that base and really understand, interacting with them, understanding them, and so forth, so that You have people that you can get in contact with. You have people that you can serve. Trying to just do all of this with ads and ad arbitrage, it's hard enough on regular products. On affiliate products, when you might be earning 40% or 50% of the total revenue, and you don't have a really good way to tie sales that you make into any sort of tracking software so you can really dive into the analytics. It's a lot harder to do that with affiliate products. So you really need to have an audience that you can contact, quote unquote, for free, and use that as your primary source of how you're going to generate passive income. The larger your audience, generally speaking, if you're doing a good job, the larger your audience, the more passive income you're going to be able to generate. Now, in terms of what I mean by like the mechanics of an audience, so we're talking about things like an email list, a blog, regular readers of your blog, YouTube subscribers, podcast subscribers, social media followers, etc. And the order of the ones that are most important, the first one is email. The second one is email. The third one is email. And then you have like a pretty large gap. And then you have your own blog or your website, things like YouTube, then say your own podcast if you're doing that. And then very, very last on the list is social media, which is pretty opposite of what a lot of people think these days, but email is still the number one dominant way that people make money through passive income, because email is still a sort of sacred place for a lot of people. And if people allow you into that space, you're a lot more likely that they're going to read what you have to say. Most people, obviously there's exceptions, but most people read a good portion of the email that they get comparative to, say, what they might see from the people they follow on Twitter or Facebook, etc. There's no sort of algorithm showing them certain emails and not other emails, all that sort of thing. It's just a much better way. So the number one most important thing that you need to do in terms of building your audience is have an email list. It is the most valuable thing that you can build. And then your own blog and website and the rest of that stuff. All right, so build that audience. Third thing is you have to understand that it's all about gaining your audience's trust. So you should never be focused on what can I promote that will make me the most money. That is always going to backfire on you. If it doesn't backfire on you right away by nobody buying what you promote, it's going to backfire on you long term by people realizing you only care about your own bottom line, and they stop trusting you. And the moment they stop trusting you, the stuff that you recommend, whether it's somebody else's through affiliate products or it's your own stuff, they're just not gonna trust you enough to go and buy and check it out. There will always be some, but not the numbers you're gonna need to actually be able to make the kind of money that you want to make. So it absolutely is about trust. They need to trust your recommendations, and the more they trust you, the more your earnings will reflect that. If you're trying to do this and your earnings aren't where you want them to be, it almost always is about the trust that you have with your audience. Following on from that, so sort of closely related to that, is the fourth thing here, which is I wrote down, which is it's about the product's dummy. And I'm really sort of speaking to myself because it took me a long time to figure this out. I went into this thinking that it was all about the marketing. It was all about how I wrote my emails. It was all about, the email, the funnel that I created, or the words that I put on a web page, and this, that, the other. And all those things are important. You should think about those things and so forth. But it really isn't about your marketing. I mean, that helps. But the number one way to do well promoting, again, other people's products, promoting your own products or services, and generating passive income as a result of that, is to pick the best products, to promote the best products. And if you pick established winners, the marketing gets really, really easy. And you can't market turds. It's just, you can't shine them up and polish them up. It's still a turd. So the way that I learned this was through if you've been with me for a while, I still promote this day, but for a while there, I went really heavy promoting the Complete Web Developer course by Rob Percival. Why? Well, it was it was a course that was out there, and I sort of saw it. I'm like, oh, this course is doing real. Let me try this. And I had been trying some other stuff, so I went to go to promote it, and my gosh, the response rate from it just went through the roof, and the amount of money I made as a result just went through the roof. And I was like, what is going on here? And the more I learned and the more I paid attention, I realized it was because it was an established course. It had tons of great reviews. It had tons of students. It was featured on Udemy and all these sorts of things. It makes it so much easier for you to promote, to sell those products when they're really great products. And so whether you're creating your own products or you're promoting other people's products, you have to create and or find the absolute best products that are out there and promote those, and it makes everything else so much easier. That may sound simple, but when it's really, really easy to get caught up in the promotion part of it and forget about it really is about the product and what you're promoting. All right, number 5 here then is sort of I would say this is a hack, and I wrote down leverage existing networks. So the story I'll tell you is I once got an affiliate link of mine on a Quora question that I answered. Happens to still be on there, by the way, but generally it's sort of a gray area with I think with Quora. I mean, I think they say they're not allowed, but at the same time, if you write a really, really good answer and you happen to include affiliate link in it, they're often not going to flag your answer. So it's, I don't know, the way it ultimately works is a little gray. But I got an affiliate link on a Quora question of mine. I got a ton of upvotes on that question. That answer ended up getting sent out first to like 3,000 people, then like 12,000 people, then 30,000 people, then eventually 120,000 people through Quora's digest that they send out via email. And yeah, needless to say, that was quite the spike in income for me, because the affiliate link that I included was recommending a product that was highly relevant for the answer I gave, which is why I recommended it. I would have recommended it without the affiliate link. I just so happened to be an affiliate, and so I was like, okay, I'll include my affiliate link and see what happens. And next thing I know, it's being sent out to all these different places with my affiliate link in it, and made me a bunch of money as a result. So you can do things like that, leveraging existing networks, whether it's something like Quora or YouTube or social media or whatever, but don't think that you have to do absolutely everything from your own blog or your own site. There are existing networks out there that rank really high in search engines that allow user-generated content or are solely built on user-generated content that you can leverage to be able to get, whether it's an affiliate link or just a link to your blog or just building credibility and a reputation. Leverage those existing networks that are out there. The 6th thing then is consistency, and this may be one of the most important of all of these, and one of the things that I've really learned the hard way and had to focus on, and have really tried to make a change in over the last year or so, because I'm naturally not someone, I'm more of a sprinter, right? I'm capable of tremendous output in a short amount of time, but then I just sort of die after that. I'm not really the person that can, consistently do a little bit each day. I do a ton, I die, I recover, I come back, do a ton, die, etc. And that's just sort of how I work. And so I've had to work really, really hard at consistency. So there's a reason why I podcast every weekday, why I, send out an email every weekday, so even often on the weekends, why I promote products in every single piece of content that I create, why I've worked hard to create a consistent sort of way that I go about posting my podcast and doing my YouTube videos and putting it out on social media and so forth, and try to really work hard on getting consistent, because at the end of the day, it's consistency that wins. We all sort of get maybe focused on trying to go viral, get this big windfall or whatever, but being able to consistently, even just $100 a day. Imagine if you could just make $100 a day. That's an extra $3,000 a month. For a lot of people, that's life-changing. And so if you just sort of set those goals and then just consistently put in the work each day to be able to do that, that's ultimately long-term what's going to win. The final thing then here is we've talked about affiliates, creating your own products. I just want to sort of put a focus or an emphasis on eventually you want to create your own products. Promoting affiliate products is great. Earning ad revenue from YouTube is great, or ads on your blog. All that stuff is great. But you will instantly just make a lot more money from whatever traffic you happen to be getting or whatever sales you happen to be making. You're instantly going to make more money by creating your own products because you get to keep all of the revenue. And you've learned, if you do the affiliate marketing thing, it's taught you how to market. So you've learned that part of it. It's taught you what a good course or a good product looks like. Now you can take all of those lessons to create your own products. You can sell them for your own, whatever you want to charge, and then you get to keep all of the income that you make from that. So creating your own products allows you to instantly make more money, and most of the wealthiest, passive incomers out there sell their own products. You can mix and match that with affiliate stuff and ad revenue, and I do that. I sell affiliate products, I sell my own products, I get ad revenue from YouTube and Facebook. I have courses that I have on Skillshare that I earn money from how much they get viewed on there and other platforms, etc. But creating your own products, selling your own products, getting to keep all of that revenue is a way you can just instantly make more money, and that's the way you're ultimately going to make the most money. So with all of that, what you're ultimately aiming for is you want to have a catalog of products if you really want to generate the most amount of passive income, and have a system in place that really is the least amount of work for the most amount of results. Then the first thing you need is a catalog of products and or services, and these can be your own or affiliate products or mixed and matched between those two, which is sort of what I do. But you need a catalog of products that fully serve your target market. So, for example, if we were talking about coders, you would want a catalog of products where they can come in and they can learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. They can learn PHP and MySQL. Then they can go on and learn Node and Vue and React if they want. They can learn Angular. You want that full, and they can go and learn how to freelance, and there's a course on how to get hired at a job, or everything. You can promote boot camps, everything that they need or might want. You have that full catalog of your own products or affiliate products or services that you can promote to those people, so that you can fully serve them and give them absolutely everything that they could want. That's the first big piece that you need. The second big piece that you need is a system for consistently getting those offers in front of the people most likely to buy. That's why you create content on a regular basis and promote your products and relevant products in every piece of content that you put out. That's why you develop a system for how you're going to post. Are you going to put it on YouTube? Is it a podcast? Are you going to write a blog post? How are you going to promote it on social media? And you do that same sort of thing every day. I've gotten to a point where my regular days, where I'm not trying to create a new product or anything like that, it's just a regular old day where I'm putting out my podcast. I can record my podcast, I can edit it, I can upload it to SoundCloud and the podcast service that I use. I can get it on YouTube. I can send out the emails. I can do all the social media stuff that I want to do in generally about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And so to run my business, it's about a 2-hour workday. And as a result of that, that's where all of my passive income ultimately comes from. So that's sort of what you want. That's what your aim is to have that full catalog of products, so you can always promote something relevant to what you're talking about in a particular piece of content. And then you have that system for constantly creating and putting out that content, so that you get exposure, you get people who listen to what you have to say, they click on those links, etc., etc., etc. So that's essentially sort of what I wanted to talk about in this episode. Now, I've had a couple people now over the last little bit that have asked me about creating a course on exactly what I do and generating passive income and how I promote this and that and the other thing. And so what I'm thinking about doing is creating a course where I essentially sort of rip open my own business and take you inside and show you exactly everything that I do to create products, promote products, put out this podcast, YouTube, any of the ads that I run, etc. Just showing you absolutely everything that I do to help you start generating your own passive income. So if that is something that you would be interested in, a course on all of that, then shoot me an email at support@johnmorrisonline.com. And, it could be something as simple as, I'm interested in the passive income course or whatever, but just shoot me an email. I want to sort of gauge interest. I don't want to create a course if there's like 3 people that want to take that course, but I've had enough people now ask me about it that I feel like maybe it's something that I should do. So let me know. Again, shoot me an email, support@johnmorrisonline.com, saying you're interested in a passive income course, and I'll just sort of gauge interest from there. All right, that'll do it for this episode. If you like this episode, I'd appreciate it if you'd share it with someone who you think would benefit from hearing this. Also, all of the past episodes and the subscribe links for iTunes, Android, and TuneIn, all that stuff you can find over at johnmorrisshow.com. And lastly, if you will leave me an honest review of the podcast over on iTunes, I'd really appreciate that. I will also give you Module 1 of my PHP 101 course for free. You can get all the details for that at johnmorrisshow.com. Just click on the Start Here link. All right, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.